So 100,000 subscribers. That is, that's a really big number, man. Okay, full disclosure, I was never really good at this, like, emotionally straightforward, sappy stuff, and I feel like at this point I've already said everything I could have possibly said with regard to thanking you, and, like, I've said it all before in previous milestone videos, so that's not gonna stop me from saying it again. Thank you. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the main part of the video. As with most milestone videos, I will be doing a Q&A. You might notice that some of the more common questions that got asked will not be answered this time around, and this is because I have already answered them in previous milestone videos. So if you have a question that you really wanted to see answered and it didn't get answered in this video, maybe go check out those videos and you might find it there. The format's largely going to stay the same. I'm going to start with answering some questions in depth, and then towards the end I'm going to answer a whole bunch of them really, really fast in like a lightning round style thing. Okay? Okay, let's get started. All right, first one. How did you and KJ meet? This is actually a really boring story. We met in a pub. He was playing soldier, I was playing medic, and he was the only competent person on our team, so I pocketed him and we won the match, and we added each other afterwards. Yeah, that was it, really. I know, it was really boring. Which episode of Weapon or Hat Stereotypes was the most fun to make? I really had a lot of fun with a lot of the sketches in Weapon Stereotypes Spy, but I feel like my favorite one overall was Weapon Stereotypes for Heavy, just because of the little skit at the end with the holiday punch. More than anything, it was supposed to poke fun at how controversial friendlies were and how me simply mentioning the word friendly would probably set somebody off on Reddit, and so I figured what better of a place to get people to complain about it than Reddit. Now, usually people on the TF2 subreddit downvote anything the second they see my name attached to it, and so I wasn't really expecting much to come of it, but surprisingly, I actually gained a huge outpouring of support, and it ended up turning out really well. I can't remember exactly how many people ended up submitting their voice to make the riot crowd thing at the end, but it was a whole lot, and they're all still in the description, and I think it ended up turning out really well. So just a combination of how unexpected the support actually was and how well I think it turned out really just adds up to a really great experience. So yeah. Favorite video game soundtrack? Jesus, you can't just make me choose one. Okay, I'm gonna have to give you a top 5. Okay, in no particular order: Journey, Team Fortress 2, Shadow of the Colossus, Hive Jump, Shovel Knight, honorable mention to Payday 2 and Cave Story, because those are awesome. I can't decide, man. There are so many awesome soundtracks out there. I don't know, if I had to pick one, probably Journey, just because Journey's soundtrack is godlike. Favorite composer is pretty much gonna go in line with that. Austin Wintory, who did the soundtrack for Journey. Yeah, it's friggin' awesome. What is the yearly average rainfall in the Amazon Basin? 2,300 millimeters. If TF2 were to suddenly disappear, would you still make content? And if so, what would that content be about? Yes, absolutely, I would still make content. Aside from Stereotypes, the large majority of my content is primarily focused on me and my friends just dicking around in, like, pubs or something, so I imagine my content, if TF2 were to disappear, would be mostly the same, just me and my friends dicking around in different games. But yeah, I would definitely still make content. Who is better, Soundsmith or Clockwork Smurf? I'm assuming you're referring to who's better at TF2, and I would say we actually go pretty even. The thing is, we're both better at different classes than the other person. So, like, for example, I'm a better scout than KJ is, I'm a better soldier than KJ is, I'm a better medic, I can hit crossbows more reliably, but he's a much better sniper than I am, he's a better spy than I am, he's a better NG than I am, and I think we go about even in the rest of the classes. The point is, we're both better than each other at different things, so I think that's part of the reason we bounce off each other so well. Favorite moment in competitive Smash? Oh boy. Okay, so as of recently, Bad Moon Rising 2, Melee Doubles, Loser Semis, PPMD and Lazar versus HBox and Crunch. If you've seen that set, then you know exactly which moment I'm talking about. Exactly how hyped are you for the Man-Treads buff? I don't want a reaction, I want a percentage. Okay, well, give me 1 second. Just open up a text box here. Okay, and... okay. Most underrated band, song, or SoundCloud user that you know. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go with Big Giant Circles, or Jimmy Henson. He's made a lot of awesome music in the past. He did some of the soundtracks for Mass Effect 2. He did the multiplayer menu music in Call of Duty Black Ops 2. He recently did the entire soundtrack for a video game called Hive Jump, which was awesome, but I haven't heard from him recently. I haven't heard much of what he's been working on, so that's kind of a bummer. I really like his stuff, and I'd love to see more. Or hear more, I guess. How many stupid questions have you received? Oh man, you have no idea. Do you ever have confidence issues when... Fuck. I guess that's, yeah, no, that's appropriate, I guess. Do you ever have confidence issues when recording, and do you ever have to record things multiple times if you feel they aren't right? Well, yeah, as you probably just heard, I just messed up reading this comment, so I had to start over. When it comes to reading off of a script or public speaking or something along those lines, I've actually had a lot of practice with that outside of YouTube. One of my first jobs was working at a science museum for families and children and blah, blah, blah. One of the things that I did was I would do shows, I would do birthday parties, and one of the things that I would really have to do is I would have to A, read off of a script, but B, be able to improvise really well, because every show, every birthday party was a little bit different despite them having some of the same themes and activities and etc. I worked at that job for almost 5 years, and so I feel like the public speaking part, the talking into a microphone part, the performance part, I got a lot of good practice with that because of that job. As far as recording things multiple times, don't ever let that get you down, because frankly, it happens to everybody. Professional voice actors have to retake lines all the time. It's one of those things that it just happens, and being able to recognize when it happens and what you should do to improve the line is where most of the experience goes towards. So yeah, definitely. Short answer to your question, TLDR, yes, absolutely. Are you a fan of Muselk? Well, this is kind of a touchy, I'm walking on eggshells here. I don't really watch his content that much, mostly because Overwatch just isn't really my cup of tea. I think it's a great game, it's just not for me, you know, different strokes for different folks. That being said, despite the fact that I don't watch Muselk's content that much, I can tell that it's really, really, really well produced. It's well put together, the editing's clean, the audio's really good, and I respect the shit out of that. So yeah, even though I don't really watch his content all that much, I can pretty safely say that I am a fan of Muselk. Oh, and if you were about to type out a comment about how Muselk betrayed the TF2 community or whatever, you can just shut the fuck up, because that's a really stupid and childish comment, and yeah. Don't even go there. Why you hate Black Box? Well, I'm assuming you're referring to how I treated it in Weapon Stereotypes, and I should probably clarify, I don't necessarily hate the things that have negative stereotypes. A lot of the times it kind of lines up. So for example, I fucking hate the Dead Ringer. Like, yeah, okay, you got me there. But you know, I don't hate the Black Box. I dislike fighting against it because it promotes a passive playstyle, but the best example of something going completely against my own personal opinion would be the direct hit. Like, I made fun of the direct hit. I called it the direct shit, the best melee weapon of the game. Haha, get it? Because soldiers who use the direct hit can't hit anything outside of melee range. Oh, yeah. Whatever, but I use the direct hit a lot. I think it's a great side grade. It trades crowd control for single target combat. This is pretty cool. It's a cool weapon. If you use the buff banner with it, you can get some cheeky snipes across the map, and it's really dumb. Like, I use it all the time, but I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. I guess my point is I don't necessarily hate something just because I treated it negatively in Weapon Stereotypes. So yeah, if you could revive any TF2ber, which one would it be? So I'm gonna have to go into this one with a kind of prerequisite. The prerequisite is the person that's being revived wants to come back. Because frankly, forcing somebody to come back if they don't want to would be a huge dick move, and I would never want to do that. So, assuming that they would want to come back should they be revived, number one is obviously Lazy Purple. He was a huge inspiration for me with regard to YouTube, and I fucking love his content, so yeah. But number two, a kind of lesser known one would be TF Tools. It was a group of 4 friends who had a really, really great run in the TF2 YouTube scene a couple of years ago. They made awesome content, and they made it really, really quickly, so they were growing pretty fast, but that was exactly the problem. They made content too quickly, and they burned out. It was a real bummer, because I really, really liked their content. So the TF Tools are kind of the reason that I wanted to put the disclaimer before I answered this question, because I wouldn't want to force them to come back. That being said, if they ever do want to come back, that would be fucking awesome. And Brian, Chris, Brennan, and Ted, if you're watching this and you ever want to come back, hit me up, dude, because I would love to collaborate with you should that ever happen. So yeah, how much do you make off of YouTube? I'm not sure that I'm allowed to disclose exactly how much I make. I will say this, it's significant. It's definitely enough to make a significant change in how I handle my personal finances, but it's not nearly enough to make a living off of. I feel like me quitting jobs and pursuing a full-time YouTube career would just be foolish at this point. So TLDR, a significant amount, but not nearly enough to make a living off of. What's your favorite instrument, and will you play a short song for us? Sure. Well, I play the double bass or upright bass or string bass or whatever the hell you want to call it. Yeah, sure. Let me get the fucking bass track set up real quick. That was a section from Blackheart by Two Steps from Hell, which I fucking love Two Steps from Hell. That's also favorite composers, Thomas Bergeson. I forgot to mention Thomas Bergeson and Nick Phoenix. Forgot to mention that. Those guys are fucking awesome. Shit, I'm off track again. Out of the whole TF2 team, who would be your best friend? I would say probably NG. He seems really chill, and you know, just despite the fact that he has to do some really fucked up shit for his job, like, he seems really chill and surprisingly sane. I don't know, he just seems like the kind of guy you'd want to go and grab a beer with. What do you use to record gameplay, and what are your specs? Okay, so for video, I use Shadowplay. It's a capture software that comes on most modern NVIDIA cards these days, and for my voice, I use Pro Tools. As for my specs, it's a custom build. I made it a couple of years ago on Cyber Monday or something. I'll flash the specs up on screen right now. You can pause and look at that if you want. What does your creative process look like, and what does the creation of a video look like? I know this probably isn't the answer you want to hear, but I don't really have that much of a creative process. YouTube these days is really just dependent on how much free time I have. If I'm not working, if I'm not doing homework, if I'm not in class, if I'm not sleeping, I'm probably working on YouTube stuff. And so a lot of times I'll only have like 1 hour free in a day to go work on YouTube. And so if that's the case, I might go and work on a thumbnail or something. But if I have more time, I might end up trying to record some gameplay or maybe doing some voiceover or something like that. Really, I just kind of write down everything that I need to do and do as much of it as I can in a short time period, cross that stuff off, and put it all together when it all happens to get done. So yeah, my creative process is really messy, and I should probably work on that. Favorite casual meta episode you've done? Probably Brass Beast Buddies. This was back in the days before I aliased. And the reason I alias these days is because most of the time when I get recognized, I just get relentlessly focused and it's not fun at all. But back in the days before that happened, I got recognized with my friend KJ and Opal as soon as we entered the server, and we were doing the thing where you rev up with the Brass Beast and you just like waddle around, and it was stupid. But the thing is, the second we got recognized, our entire team joined in on it. So by the end, we had 3 other Brass Beast heavies, a soldier whipping all of us, 2 medics healing all of us, and we were all just like packed into one really tiny room below the high tower with a bunch of Brass Beasts. It was really dumb, and I specifically remember it being one of the most fun times I've ever had in TF2. I really wish I could get away with that these days, but frankly, I have to alias out of necessity now. But yeah, TLDR, Brass Beast Buddies. It was a hell of a lot of fun. Do your weapon stereotypes videos reflect your personal feelings about certain weapons? I briefly mentioned this earlier about the black box. No. Like, again, I'd bring up the example of the direct hit. I don't hate the weapon. I made fun of it, but like, that's actually a big criticism that I get on weapon stereotypes, is a lot of people think that I let too much of my personal opinion get in the way, and I can see how you would think that. It's something that I've been trying to clarify in more recent episodes. You might notice me talking about my research and comments that I've read and people I talk to, blah, 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 etc. I'm just kind of trying to make it more obvious where I get my information from. So in answer to your question, sometimes they'll line up, but not always. What is your favorite weapon reskin? I fucking love Dress to Kill. It looks amazing. It fits with TF2's art style. It's not overly flashy. It's so cool, dude. I really like it. A close second would be Top Shelf for the same reasons that I described before, but Top Shelf kind of takes the top spot because stranges for that skin are way easier to come by. How do you think the Righteous Bison could be made usable? Literally just revert the meet your match changes. Just give us pre-meet your match Bison and I will be entirely happy. If Valve insists on doing something different, definitely increase the projectile speed to make it more viable at mid to long range, and maybe decrease the damage fall off for the same reason. For an aspiring TF-tuber, what advice can you give? Get lucky. Like, I know that's really not what a lot of people want to hear, but frankly, the reason I blew up was luck. Mostly. Like, something screwy just happened with the algorithms and it started suggesting my videos to everyone. I don't really know what happened. So as far as blowing up goes, keep making good content. Like, as much as I know people hate to hear it, it's largely out of your hands what happens or if something goes viral. If I could give aspiring YouTubers one piece of advice though, it would be do not sleep on audio. One of the biggest first impressions that people take away from your video is your audio quality. For example, you can have a really interesting thumbnail and an interesting video concept, and you can be the funniest guy in the world with your content, but if your video starts with you eating your USB microphone going, "How's it going, guys? GamerGod88 here," I'm probably gonna click off of your video because I don't want to listen to that. And I'm pretty sure nobody else does either. So don't sleep on audio. And I'm not just talking about your vocal quality. This is something that I actually should probably talk about in a whole separate video. But yeah, make sure your audio quality is good, because while the thumbnail might be what gets people to click on the video, your audio quality is gonna keep them on the video, if that makes sense. Have you ever tried Trollger with the conch? This is another thing that I want to make a video on eventually. Yes, I have. It sounds like it would be awesome on paper, but sadly in practice it's not nearly as good. The reason it's not nearly as cool is because the regen mechanic is kind of bugged. I'm not sure if it's a bug. So the way the conch regen works is it's kind of like crit heals. If you don't take damage for a certain amount of time, the regen goes up to 4 health per tick or something like that. But when you take damage, it goes back to 1 health per tick. The thing is, rocket jumping resets that regen. Even if it's with the rocket jumper and deals no damage, it'll reset it back to 1 health per tick, which means you're really never going to be able to take full advantage of the regen that the conch gives you. That being said, doing some crazy market gardeners with the help of the conch speed boost is hilariously awesome and totally fun, and you should definitely try it. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Okay, so now we're gonna get to the lightning round. This is the part where I just read as many questions as I possibly can, and yeah, let's go. Are you a real villain? Well, technically nah. Favorite soda? Root beer. What would 2007 you think of you now? He'd probably be really disappointed. Night owl or early bird? Night owl all the way. Favorite VST? Literally anything made by Heaviosity. How are you? Well, in the immortal words of Germa985, pretty good. Soundsmith, have you read the Mango? No, but Mango definitely read that role. Who is your Ruby Bae? Shopkeep is best girl. Fucking fight me. Do you like being a ginger? Hell no. Which height and how old are you? I am 6'3" and I'm 21. What makes you like TF2? Movement mechanics that take more skill than pressing left shift. What's your favorite SFM animation? Requiem for a Pizza by Italian Ninja 98. Why do you main Trollger? Because it's the only thing I'm not shit at. Delivery or DiGiorno? Red Baron. Main and Smash? I main Random because it gives me a pre-John for being shit at the game. If you could delete one thing from existence, what would it be? The Dead Ringer. Do you like chicken? Yes. Do you have a girlfriend? No. What's your favorite Scout Melee? Pam. What microphone do you use? I use a Neumann TLM 102. What is your favorite roller coaster? The Titan at Six Flags Over Texas. It's super fun. How do I get the retired kill sound? Link in the description. Do you think you're a better market gardener than Musilk? Hell no, he's way better than me. What headphones do you use? I use Sennheiser HD 650s. Do you still talk to Minozit? Yeah, he and I are actually pretty good friends. Why Trollger? Why not? Will that righteous bison religion ever come to fruition? Well, who says it hasn't already? What's your shoe size? 14. What's your HUD? Toon HUD. It's a custom Toon HUD. I'll put the link in the description. If the Bison does get buffed back, what would you plan on doing with it? Literally everything. Oh, and for those of you about to make a snarky comment about how I could have phrased that better, don't bother. I literally mean everything. So yeah, that's all the questions I'm gonna answer today. I think I got through like 50 of them, so that's a pretty good number. Yeah. You know what's a better number than that? 100,000. Oh, that was terrible.